Make More Putts by Arlen Bento Jr. How to read greens. Number 1. All holes have a straight uphill putt. Number 2. Find the straight uphill putt and label it 6 o'clock. And number 3. All putts have to break to 6 o'clock.
So what we're going to do now is we're going to work on how to read a green, okay? And we're going to introduce this, what I'm going to call my clock putting, idea here. So the first part is we have to understand that on every putting green, there's got to be some sort of area where the water has to drain. So where we are now, we can see from where that hole is, right? It has to drain that direction because the grass is greener down there. It looks different, but that's a drainage area, right? So what we're trying to do is we're trying to find what I'm going to call a straight uphill putt, and we're going to label it 6 o'clock, okay? So I've kind of identified what I think is 6 based on walking around and looking. So we're going to actually roll some putts at the hole, and we're going to test to see if this is 6 o'clock, okay? So we're just going to roll some putts. So it's pretty straight, right? Would you agree that's straight uphill?
Find your straight uphill putt and label it 6 o'clock. All putts have to break to 6 o'clock. Find your putt time to find your break.
So I'm actually standing behind the hole, right? So the theory of this is this putt should be relatively straight downhill. And then, based on a clock, there'll be a putt that'll be at 3 o'clock, and there'll be a putt that'll be on 9 o'clock. Now, when we figure this out, we always have to assign the numbers based on where the player is, right? So the player is here. We have this little station set up. So this is what the player is looking at, right? So that's straight uphill. So 3 o'clock is over there. Okay, go get a ball and stand on 3 o'clock. So based on this concept, we're going to put a ball roughly at 3 o'clock. That might be like 2:45. That's 2:30. Bring it down a little bit. It's got to be more towards me. Yep. Right around there. So that's 3 o'clock. So that putt has to break towards his left because 6 o'clock is where I'm standing. So let's go ahead and take a look at this putt and go ahead and putt this to the hole. And you know that this is going to break, right, to the left. It has to, because once you identify 6 o'clock, we know it has to break towards 6 o'clock. So the ball has to break. So I broke down at the end. Great. So he made that putt. So the concept is once you identify 6 o'clock, then the player's job is basically to figure out where his ball is based on the clock. So if he's at 3 o'clock, it's going to be that kind of putt. If he's at 9 o'clock where I'm standing, it's going to break to the right. So you'll never get confused if you can find 6 o'clock. Now there's a little trick to finding 6 o'clock. It's partially looking around and seeing what looks like straight uphill, but it's also watching other players in your group, because as players chip and putt, you'll see where their ball rolls, and sometimes you even have to move 6 o'clock around. Like you might think 6 o'clock is somewhere, and then you watch your friends or people you're playing with, and you realize that, hey, you're a little off, so you just adjust your spot. And the reason why we do this is to try to eliminate variables. And it's really important to trust the line that you read, right, when it comes to putting. So this kind of gives you a little bit more, I don't know, I guess like a system feedback, so that you're not guessing as much. And what happens is you'll start to see as you play, like certain times, like you might be a great 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock putter for whatever reason. So we talk about in our training, as we get better as players, we would like to have more putts coming in from 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock, right? So as we do this, you can actually set up a clock. You can put a 6 o'clock and put a tee down, and we'll put another tee at 12 and one at 3 and one at 9, and kind of work our way to get the sensation of how the ball breaks. Now, of course, every course is different. Some courses will have a little bit steeper grade, so the putt could go quicker. And of course, some designers and the greens, they'll have knobs and hills that we can't control, but the concept of always finding straight uphill is really, really good idea.